My name is Felix Omondi. On social media, I'm known as Mr. Maneno. What we do majorly, we are producing leather accessory products using leather that we source locally. And then we try to make products that can be of use to the Kenyans, and also we are selling outside the country. So we produce things like belts, we produce shoes, we produce bags, we produce wallets, passport holders, anything that we can play around using leather to produce a product. We always are good to go to test it around, and at the end of the day we see what comes out of the initial thing, which was leather when we were beginning. The major inspiration was about the creativity that you can have when you are playing around with leather. You know, it's not limiting you to when you receive a leather, you have to sell it as a leather. You can play around with it and produce different items. So I can say maybe the artistry behind it, and then also with that you get to produce items that will bring that wowing moment when someone say initially it was just pure leather, but then later on it turns up to maybe, let's say, like a belt, for example, a wallet, for example, a bag, for example, yeah. And then the satisfaction that the client will get. Initially what they were seeing was a plain leather, but when you are coming to finish it, anapata akona bag kwa mgongo, anapata akona belt. So that inspiration too of getting a client getting satisfied with sitting down and doing something that is artistry to a degree. I think back when I was coming to Nairobi, I passed a place and then I saw leather products which I had interest myself. I wanted to test them and wear them and see the feeling that you get when you wear something that has been done by someone else. So I passed by a place, I saw those Maasai sandals and worn them, and then that satisfaction of I have the item satisfied me, and I said if it can be satisfying to me, then also there must be some other people outside my zone that can get satisfied by them. So that is when I entered into the leather industry, initially to produce Ankara products, which is not leather, but then it also involves artistry. And then later on, I engaged myself into the official shoes, men official shoes majorly, which engage leather and soles, and then you produce the final item, which is a shoe. But then later on, as I got myself into it, I realized that I can also do the belts, I can also do some other items like bags and all that and all that. So that is what inspired the whole thing to begin. Yeah, the brand, I think because of input from my end, the brand started growing. So you get with that, when you have an item, maybe you have sold a shoe, not all of them will go perfectly. Ifikie na ikue, perfect delivery, total transition from product, asili ikue complete. So utapata kuna zile zenye zimerudi returns, ama kuna zile haziku satisfy client. So me, when that started happening, I didn't give up at yo kitu imekatama nini. All that I considered as stock. So ikafika mahali zimeanza kugrow, I could not keep everything inside the house, inside where I was staying. So nikasema with that, maybe let me consider having a physical place to store my products. Zikikuja kama returns, ama ile yenye client amepiga simu amesema I want this, at least I have an item that is ready there. So it grew from making on order to now having a stock, pole pole. So we began with a small store somewhere, which was a rented house. But then I rented the house purely for my stock, not for me to stay, purely for my stock. And then after that, I now started to grow the house. Ikawa pia an issue because the stock ina outgrow the space. So nikatafuta physical location where at least nikiwa na my physical products, I can also open a shop and sell to walk-ins. Yeah, so that is when it grew to having a physical store. And then with that coming in, I got myself engaged in it. Now I want to know where is the leather coming from, where are the accessories coming from, how is this thing being made, what entails everything behind the scenes, from making patterns, having the leather itself, where are they sourced from, which one is the best leather to use on which product and all that, which part of maybe an animal, to say like a cow, which part of the cow will be best for a bag and not a belt and not a wallet and not a shoe, and which part of the shoe will be best with which part of leather. So all that I came to start studying, and apart from studying, you walk into the tanneries. Unauliza, I want to make this, and I'll need genuine information from you, because if you fail me, then I'll also fail the client, and most likely on your side also, it will be failure. So nikaanza kupiga a lot of research, testing, trying different things, walking to different fundis, doing a thing or two with them, seeing which one is working for the clients. Majorly, the major deal ilikuwa, I have to satisfy the needs of the client. So all these things zilikuwa zina shift, zina change, zina adjust because of feedback and requirements from the clients and from the customers. Yeah, so with that nika adjust, I think mpaka mahali tuko. So when entering the market, I had to begin with the less pricey leather, which is genuine leather. People know that genuine leather is the most, like it's the precious leather, but then genuine leather is the cheapest in terms of price and also in terms of durability. So for that, I had to begin with genuine leather, which can produce shoes that are competitive in terms of pricing. So utapata from in our sites, kuna viatu zingine hadi tunauza 1700, but then they are made of genuine leather. So for that, I'll use the genuine leather. But then if I'm targeting clientele of maybe something like passport holder, if someone can afford to have a passport holder, it will be good to give them something that is of value, because that is someone who is seeing themselves outside the country, seeing themselves affording flights and all that. So if I use genuine leather on their products, I'll have downplayed myself. I'll produce something that is cheap, but then it won't produce the value that the clientele can meet. So with that, I'll use full grain leather. So napata full grain leather iko very pricey, but then it's something that when you use will last for close to a lifetime. It's 20 years, 40 years of service. And then the more you use it, the more you touch it, the more it remains with your history within it. Unapata kama the straps that I'm having, that oily hand, when my hands are sweating and I touch them, kuna that, it remains with my history. But then this one unapata, it's full grain leather. So full grain leather, it's a little bit expensive, a little bit pricey, but then the fact that it will remain with my history, the fact that later on if I give it to someone, it will be like I'm giving my soul to the person or such a thing, it works well with that target market. And then kuna hapo katikati tuko na top grain, which can also be playing hapo katikati to meet the middle class client. Yeah, so it depends with the item that you want to make, what are the target market, and also what is the durability that you want this item to go for. Yeah. So Kio Ngozi leather comes from playing around with the two words to come with the third one. Kio means a reflection, and then Ngozi for just leather, and then the leather to finish up the whole branding thing. And then hapo katikati tuko na the bull kuonyesha the symbolism of the whole thing. So Kio means mirror, Ngozi means leather, and then the leather part means that. So the name was inspired by, I reached a point whereby I was trying to look for something that can be a motivation in a daily normal routine. Nataka ile kitu yenye nikivaa inanikumbusha that there is this way you need to act as a person, there is this way you need to do your things. So initially when nilikuwa naitengeneza, the name ikakuja kwa akili kiongozi, the normal kiongozi, which means a leader. So being a leader would play a major role hapo hivyo kusema kiongozi leather. But then nikasema that will not be very creative, because later on nikakuja nikajiambia whatever you put on is a reflection of who you are as a person. The way I'm putting on this one is an apron. When you look at me, you'll know that this one is someone who is dealing with something to do with the creativity. In my case, it's leather. When I'm having a suit, people will view it maybe someone who is business oriented, maybe in the security sector. So hapa nilitaka ni create something that will, people wakikuona nayo, watakuview as a leader. Sasa hiyo ndio inakuja kiongozi. So Kio is a reflection of the ngozi that you are putting on as a kiongozi, as a leader. Okay, so where we are at the moment, tuko in one of the workshops where we are working majorly with the full grain leather products, and that one is the major thing yenye imekuwa push the Kio Ngozi brand. And in the workshop we are having a sector like this one. This one majorly it's meant for cutting, because we are having the table here. We'll have our leather products here. Like this one are finished, but then here is where we lay our leather. Ikiwa venye imefungwa hivi, we'll have it opened and then we lay it here depending on the item you want to cut. We'll cut the leather into the pieces that we need. So this station majorly it's meant for cutting of leather, and then after it's been cut, like these pieces that I'm having here, after it's been cut in this place, next station is always to have them stitched together. So we'll move with them from this position to maybe our next station, whereby here now we are having the stitching machine. So here when they are stitched together, like in this case you're finding this one is a belt, it's a double-sided belt. You can't use it if they are not stitched together. So utapata this part is black, this other part is brown. So with the double-sided, when this one goes to the client, either side can be used depending on the attire that you are having, depending with the mood that you are having for the day, depending maybe with the shoe that you are having or the strap that you are tying. We want to give you one item that can play around with that. And then once they have been stitched, the next station is always the third station that you're having here. Majorly here what we do is the branding. We want the items when they're leaving the station, they come when they're having our nice logo, when they're having our nice item that can be used in different places. So here we do majorly branding, and then after branding, maybe like a belt like this one, it needs to be branded on the edge here. So this one also is a double-sided made of full grain. We are having the brown, and then the other side you're having the black. So with this, how you can use it, maybe in this case, let me do a demonstration how it can be used. In this case, when I tie it this way, the brown side will be the side that will be facing outside. So with that, maybe I'll buckle it at this point, and then you can have a look and see how it goes. So then maybe later on, I say that I want to use the black. The same belt, what I'll only need to do is to turn the buckle, and then I can now use this other side. So to do that, I'll pull this and then rotate it back. So when I rotate it, the side that will be facing outside will be the black side. So for the belts, like this one is made of top grain. And for the top grain, this one that we have used this one as a sample to mean the top grain. And also another top grain that we do use, but majorly on bags, is this one. This one is also a top grain leather that we use. But then for the full grain, say like these belts here, for the full grain, the leather that we'll use for that one, an example that we can use is this one, a different shade of the brown one, but then this one is also full grain leather. And then also we are having the same shade, but then this one is in brown in color. So this one is light brown, this one is dark brown. Depending with the client's order, depending with what you are trying to achieve for the order that you are working on, we'll use different colors. But then majorly we do have here full grain and top grain leather, which are a little bit pricey, but then in terms of service, these are going to last with you for close to a lifetime. Yeah, so majorly the clientele that we target with things like the passport that I mentioned initially, the clientele that we target with that, it's always good we give them something that will serve them for a longer duration. So for the wallets, we can play around, we can use genuine leather. But then of late, what we have been using majorly is full grain leather, because they know with the full grain leather, it will give them longer service. And then the aspect that the more you use it, the more it remains in your history. Someone wants something that when they touch it 10 years later, the look is not the same like it was when they bought it. Because this one, when you touch it, when your hands are, the normal interactions that you're having with it, the fingerprints will remain there. When you sweat, the sweat will remain there. The appearance will also change, because if you look at this one, it's almost turning to a black in texture. But then initially, the initial color was this one. So because of touching it, because of sweating, because of that, it has my history. So kuna hiyo unapata, you're feeling attached to it. Compared to just an item that you bought, you have on your pocket and you leave. This one kuna history that remains with you. So for the wallets, we use majorly at the moment we are using full grain leather. But if a client requests for the top grain leather and maybe the genuine leather, we'll do it, but we always tell you, this is the leather that you have chose, this is the price, this is the service it will give you later on from what we are using. In the leather industry, we also have different challenges that you are facing in the leather industry. And the major one always is, you find that most of the products that we are using, they are things we cannot produce by ourselves. Take an example of leather. If there is a problem in the tannery, then we are also affected, because we cannot continue with our normal production. Just in case they tell you that maybe full grain leather is not available in the tannery, we have to wait for them to be able to produce the leather, to do the tanning process, because we can't use the leather hide if it's not tanned. So once maybe we say like the tannery is having challenges here and there, us as people, we are also affected in one way or the other. Secondly, you realize that the products that you are making, they are for specific clientele. Maybe say a shoe, there are clients that come and they say they want shoe size, maybe 46, 47, 48, the big-footed guys. So if we don't have the tools that can enable us to produce such items, you also find that we are not able to convert that one into a sale, because we are trying to look for the tools that we can use to compensate for that. And then apart from that, we are also having the competition from those established companies, and then also from those companies that are able to import in bulk, and also from those companies that have established themselves. You find that for them, they are using machines to do productions, but then for us, we are waiting for the human skills. We have to have someone who is skilled specifically to do this part and this part. But then for those companies that are having production in bulk, we are trying to compete with them for the same clients. So for them, doing a production is something that they'll do production in mass, but ours is limited maybe to 300 pairs per week, 500 pairs per week. But you're always trying to, for the people that we can deliver to, we do the much that we can to deliver the best that we can. Yeah, and then also trying to communicate the value of maybe something like full grain leather. The challenge has been on that because not most people are not able to relate that this item, even though the price seems to be higher, but then it's something that will serve you for 20 years. If you compare a belt, maybe like the full grain belt, the double-sided one, we are selling it at 3,500, which is competitive compared to our other people who are dealing with leather products. But then for a client, when you tell them that you are selling a belt at 3,500, and for them wamezoea ile belt yenye anaingia kwa Gikomba anachukua belt na 250, anaingia mahali anachukua belt na 100, telling them that this one is 3,500, but it will give you longer service compared to the one that will buy at 200, and maybe after 3 months umerudi kwa soko, inakuwa something that is a little bit challenge. But then for the young entrepreneurs that maybe are looking to, they want to get into the leather industry, the advice I can give is that this one is a field more of creativity, and you have to be creative, and also you have to listen to clients more. You can be having an idea, maybe you want to sell an item. If it's like the leather thing, you can be having an idea, but you know your idea is not what clients are looking for. You have to be able to look at everything that you're making, look at it from the point of what is the client saying. So customer-centric, that is the term. In the next 5 years, with how things are flowing, we are having different plans. One is to increase the catalog, in that we have the suitcases, even though they are priced in terms of they'll consume a lot of material, but then we are seeing ourselves into being able to increase our catalog into suitcases, into the backpack, into maybe bigger items like belts that have better accessories compared to what we are having. And then apart from that, when I got into the industry, all through people have been inquiring about, are you doing training? Are you training people? Are you doing this and that? So God willing, we are planning to have Goi Leather Academy, which majorly is about training people. We can have it online, we can also have the physical thing, but then it's something that we are working on and adjusting on a daily basis. Those are majorly the two things that we are targeting. And then also being able to ship outside the country and do it comfortably. At the moment, you are having a challenge. You can get an order that is outside the country, but then the shipping companies that are able to do it, still we have to be able to convince them that as a brand, we are able to do this, we are able to deliver this. So most of them have not been able to click with us, but we are doing the much we can to do social media marketing so that our name is known and we be able to deliver and deliver it comfortably with the least confusion or with the least problems.